As a child, I was always fascinated by the way hands were made, how my tiny fingers could perfectly interlock with my mother's, how the lines engraved on my palm could predict my future, and how the patterns on my fingertips could recall my past. My hands are used to tell stories, connecting the present with the past, using culture to stitch them together. Now we are woven together by many strands entwined with this invisible energy, each thread, an echo of history, each thread, a bond between family. Now the women in my family can build a home without a blueprint. Their hands lay down a foundation that is rooted in their spine. Their words travel throughout generations at a volume that can silence a crowded room. Home is a place nestled between a woman's heart and her breastbone. Her rib cage holds a lineage that beats with such a force she can heal all your wounds. And she'll kiss away your bruises and smiles with lips that are now black and blue. Now the women in my family, they love to dance. They feel the rhythm of their ancestors move throughout their bones. Slave hymns and spirituals come alive with every step she takes. She has a call-response relationship with her audience. Grace is always present when the music takes attendance. Her movements never choreographed. Her body knows no limits, always dancing with endless beauty. Now, the women in my family taught me that my skin is a battlefield, but that love will always win, that the richness of my complexion mirrors the richness of her mind, that I have landmines for mouth, that every word I speak is an explosion of truth and an explosion that awakens my past and inspires my future. My skin tells a story only we women can bear. Our black bodies glisten with honey that nurtures our children. Our black bodies brings life into existence. Our black bodies are the keepers of stories and the guardians of lessons. But if my skin is a battlefield, then my culture is the greatest defense against slavery. My shield carries my family's last name. My armor has my father's last name, and my helmet provides me with the protection my ancestors never had. If my skin is a battlefield, then that explains why when I close my eyes, all I see is red, why my knuckles are blue, and why innocence never really correlates with white. It's why I feel a war cry resurface in the backs of my throat every time there's a new hashtag. It's why I'm a soldier, still awaiting to return home. But if my skin is a battlefield, then I will fight alongside those who demand change. I'll use my words to plant seeds of hope in places that the sun has never shone, and I'll water it with my actions to wash away the pain that has been silenced. My heart will be the rays of light that radiate forgiveness. I will fight. My weapon of choice is my garden that blossoms not in spring, but in the middle of winter, because my culture knows no time like the present. Culture is the backbone that stands tall in a country that tries to tear it down. It's the shadow that follows you around, a friendly reminder not to forget where you come from. And you wear it in your smile. It peeks out between your two front teeth and will greet anyone who is willing to have a conversation with you. My culture is bold. It will shake hands with the past, make eye contact with the present, and say hello to the future. I am still fascinated by the way hands interlock so seamlessly with one another. Our fingers love to color in the spaces between your story and mine, and hand in hand we time travel, using magical threads to travel throughout our history, discovering stories that lead us into so many different directions. It makes us dizzy with excitement until finally we come full circle and begin to embark on a new journey. Perhaps this one will take us north.
I have never heard my mother say the word ancestor. Instead, she says things like rent and landlord and bus. But I remember this one time, before the welfare came in, when the word rice slipped out of her mouth. And in the sentences following that, there were traces of ancestors woven into words. My mother described a rice field, a time when there was no waiting for the 5th of the month. There was just the sun, just the carabao in the daylight. It was in those following sentences that she cast the shadow of a life that did not follow her across the ocean. It is the indigenous narrative that tells us we are as big as our world. It is the American narrative that tells us we are as small as a single grain of rice. So my mother doesn't tell me about the women I came from, or talk to me in Visayan. She speaks small words: rent, landlord, bus. She speaks simple sentences: eviction notice, card decline, bus pass renewal. These things make me feel small and simple. Not like a bowl of rice, 100 tiny grains of rich history. Maybe I am a tiny grain with a rich history, and maybe the more my mother uses this language with me, the more I believe I am bigger. Bigger than eviction, bigger than rent money, bigger than what America would hope I would be because I am Black, because I am Filipino, because I am woman, because I am working class. Maybe these things make me rich, and maybe this is what America was trying to avoid when it was important to only speak English. So I would master this foreign language. So I would master these simple words and adopt a small way of thinking. This language is limited when you are queer, when you are transgender, immigrant, Jewish, Muslim, Native, Indigenous, disabled, mentally overwhelmed, when who you are can't fit into these syllables, won't fit into these dictionaries because you are too big, too complicated. When Mama says rice, it sounds familiar. It sounds like Filipino rice terrace. Like the physical places we have called home, they are surviving structures. We call them ancestors because they shaped us long before our birth. The land, ocean, and stars know more about our history, know more about 600 years of stolen land, know more about 500 years of slavery, know more about 150 years of claiming everybody is free than any 30-foot telescope could ever teach us when they want to break Kapu on sacred Hawaiian mountain and group Mauna Kea with words like observatory, exhibit, tour, when they want to Dakota Access pipeline the land and say things like benefit, construction, fuel, work. They point these trigger-happy words at us like we are simple, like we are small, like our ancestors would understand what a gun looks like in the form of a contract when scientists think they don't have to ask permission to own the land that was never theirs, poison the waters, bury this ancestry with their pipelines and telescopes, like this land is nothing but a playground for the rich, powerful, white. If this makes you uncomfortable, if you get bothered when I raise my voice like this, if you think I am too angry, then you have some things you need to work on. Do not expect us to apologize because of your fragile privilege. For the Black, for the woman, for the queer, transgender, Muslim, Native, Indigenous, disabled, mentally overwhelmed, for the others. My mama once told me about you. The thing with rice is that it is simple. It is small, but many grains, ones that shift and exist with each other, that rice is big. That rice is heavy. And that rice is enough to feed everyone.
I am folding up my little dreams within my heart tonight, a praying I may soon forget the torture of their sight. For times deaf fingers scroll my brow with fell, relentless art. I'm folding up my little dreams tonight within my heart. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.